I am, but this, and if it goes over the y-axis,
Oh, yeah.
the
I don't even know.
considering that I think it was how many was it? 25 out of 42 people got over 100% on this test. You should be pretty good on this. Yeah. So always try the extra credit. Those of you that did not try the extra credit, I give you a half a point for trying. So it's helpful. Okay? All right. All right, let's talk about compositions of transformations. So a glide reflection, the word glide, first of all, let's talk about transformation. What 3 transformations have we done so far?
Reflection, translation.
And translation, right? So if we have a glide reflection, which 2 do you think that involves?
Translation and reflection.
See how smart you are? A transformation consisting of a translation combined with a reflection. That's a glide reflection. So we already defined what a composition of transformations is. It's just when you have 2 or more transformations combined to form